Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, Victoria ISD gets ready to discuss a bond that could lead to major changes with Victoria's elementary schools. A life-saving drug becomes more available in the Crossroads where residents can find it. And a former president misses a scheduled hearing involving the Jeffrey Epstein case. Find out what could be next for him.
Well, the weather system that brought us the clouds and the light rain is right on top of us, but that means it's moving away. So we've got clearing skies for tonight, tomorrow, windy but sunny. We'll talk more about it coming up in a moment.
And learning never stops at Victoria College, the unique program that's keeping minds active. You're watching 25 News now at 5. Good afternoon. Thanks for being with us. I'm Don Brubaker in for Shauna Curry. A major's decision could be one step closer after tonight's Victoria ISD board meeting. The district's Bond Action Committee will review a proposal that could lead to a bond election as early as May for a project topping $200 million. The plan would reshape several campuses, combining some elementary schools and demolishing the Stroman, Shields, and O'Connor buildings. It also includes upgrades at other Victoria ISD elementary and middle schools. If approved, voters would ultimately have the final say on the bond later this spring.
Our big goal is to ensure that we're maximizing district resources, and when we right-size campuses and bring campuses together, you minimize costs for maintenance, personnel, technology and infrastructure, and many other areas. So it's in essence a cost savings when we bring campuses together.
The committee also proposed a $58 million project to build a new school building. The meeting begins at 5:30. We'll have a report on the meeting later on tonight. The Refugio County Commissioners Court lifted the county's outdoor burn ban today after rainfall eased fire conditions across the area. The burn ban was scheduled to remain in effect until January 22nd unless it was ended earlier by the court. Speaking of rain, let's go to Mac Pettis with the first look at the forecast. And around 4:30-ish, Mac, I felt some more rain on me out there.
How many drops did you count?
17.2.
17? Well, very good, very good. And you know, that burn ban, I hate to disagree, but they may have to reconsider that again. The light rain that was over us today, you can see it right about here. Most of the rain is now pulling out of Victoria. There you are. And for the west, we actually have some breaking cloud cover over here because that's the end of it, okay? By tonight, you'll see breaks in the clouds. Tomorrow, we'll look for a lot of sun, but the north wind is coming in and it's going to be very dry and gusty. As a result, later this week, we may be back into fire danger. So we'll talk more about it coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you, Don.
Mac, thank you. If you see news happening, call our newsroom at 361-576-0026 or send us an email at staff@crossroadstoday.com. Getting help in an overdose emergency is now easier in the Crossroads. Narcan, the medication that can reverse an opioid overdose, is now available through vending machines at 2 local locations. The machines are part of a new partnership between Mid-Coast Family Services, Victoria Christian Assistance Ministry, and the University of Texas Health in Houston. They're aimed at putting life-saving tools within reach when every second counts. Health officials say Narcan can be safely used by bystanders to help someone experiencing an overdose until first responders arrive.
It's life-saving. It's literally the difference between someone passing away in the event of an overdose or surviving. So it's life and death. And anytime you're talking about a life and death situation, that's why it's important to us.
The Narcan vending machines are located inside Victoria Christian Assistance Ministry on North Liberty Street, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to noon, and outside Mid-Coast Family Services on North Navarro. A registered sex offender in Calhoun County is accused of violating his terms of probation. Israel Baldero pled guilty to aggravated sexual assault of a child and indecency with a child by contact last year. Online records show the charges stem from a 2007 incident with a 6-year-old female. He was sentenced to 10 years probation. Baldero was arrested in October on the probation violation and has since posted bond. A court date is set on the 22nd for a motion to adjudicate guilt. With polls showing that Americans are still worried about jobs and affordability, President Trump is turning his attention back to the economy. As ABC's Karen Travers reports, he's in Michigan today visiting a Ford plant and speaking to Detroit's Economic Club.
President Trump in Michigan to promote his efforts to boost U.S. manufacturing, touring a Ford factory in Dearborn that makes F-150 pickups, the best-selling domestic vehicle in the U.S.
All of the U.S. automakers now are doing great, and before they were having a really hard time.
His visit to Michigan comes as new numbers out today from the Consumer Price Index show that inflation continues to tick higher, up 2.7% in December compared to a year ago. It's in line with expectations, but the Fed wants to see it at just 2%. Prices are still high in many categories, especially certain grocery items like coffee and beef. Speaking to the Detroit Economic Club, President Trump touted the data.
Under our administration, growth is exploding, productivity is soaring, investment is booming, incomes are rising, inflation is defeated, America is respected again like never before. And other than that, we're not doing that well.
President Trump continues to push the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates. Fed Chair Jerome Powell claims that push for lower rates is behind the Justice Department's new criminal investigation into Powell's testimony about extensive renovations at the Fed headquarters.
He's billions of dollars over budget, so he either is incompetent or he's crooked. I don't know what he is, but certainly he doesn't do a very good job.
Democrats are calling the investigation bogus.
Donald Trump is clearly angry that his own presidency has been a disaster for our economy. So he's looking for a scapegoat, and he thinks Jerome Powell can be one.
Even some Republicans are expressing concerns about a probe into Powell. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said the charges better be real and better be serious, and he asked the administration for a briefing on the investigation. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Former President Bill Clinton could soon face contempt proceedings. The Republican chair of the House Oversight Committee says he's starting that process. That's after Clinton failed to attend a hearing this morning on sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has a similar deposition scheduled for tomorrow. Her attorneys say she won't show up either. The Clintons' lawyers call subpoenas from the committee invalid and say they're legally unenforceable. Victoria College is proving that learning is a lifelong process. Today, VC opened its doors for an open house at the Academy of Lifelong Learning, hosted at the Emerging Technology Center. The program offers a mix of educational and personal enrichment classes, social opportunities, and even day trips designed to keep minds active and curiosity alive. Reba Roberson, a retired teacher who now teaches history through the Academy, says staying involved is not just educational, it's deeply rewarding.
This program is to introduce people to all the programs that are available through the Academy of Lifelong Learners. And people have an opportunity to come and walk and to look at the programs that are being offered and hopefully register and go learn something new.
The Academy of Lifelong Learning has yearly spring, summer, and fall programs. To find out more, visit Victoria College's website at victoriacollege.edu/ALL. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5. The FDA wants to remove a health warning from popular weight loss drugs. Also ahead, a new report shows dropping cancer deaths. What other statistics are revealed in the report? The Supreme Court is weighing whether states can ban transgender athletes from competing on girls' sports teams consistent with their gender identity. The justices heard arguments today in cases from Idaho and West Virginia where lower courts ruled the bans were discriminatory. And as ABC's Christiane Cordero explains, allow the athletes to compete while the cases move forward.
15-year-old Becky Pepper Jackson is a discus thrower, a high school student, and today a plaintiff in a first-of-its-kind Supreme Court case regarding trans girls in sports. Becky and her family live in West Virginia, where federal courts have blocked state laws that would ban trans girls like her from playing on girls' and women's teams.
She's actually not the biggest person on her team. There's people taller than her. There's people shorter than her. She's just an average female teenager.
In Becky's case and in a separate one from Idaho, lower courts decided the bans discriminated on the basis of sex in violation of Title IX. Becky insists she lacks any physical or hormonal advantage because she never went through male puberty. The government today argued determining someone's eligibility through factors like hormone levels is impractical and incomplete, making its case that sex defined in Title IX is that assigned at birth.
And Title IX and equal protection should allow girls to have the safety and security of knowing that they're going to be safe in their spaces, they're going to be safe in their sports.
If the Supreme Court rules in favor of West Virginia, officials there tell ABC's Devin Dwyer trans girls like Becky would compete on the boys' teams, if at all.
What is the solution for student athletes like Becky? Is it to just have them play in the boys' league? Is that fair and safe for them?
Yes. Why not just play with the boys' team?
Because it would go against who I am. I've been a girl forever, and playing on the guys' team is going backwards.
The Supreme Court is expected to rule by this summer. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
To get more news, weather, and sports, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com. The FDA wants suicide warnings to be taken off of some popular weight loss medications. The affected products include Eli Lilly's Zepbound and Novo Nordisk's Wegovy and Saxenda. The request follows an FDA review that found no increased risk of suicidal thoughts or behavior with the use of the GLP-1 medications. GLP-1 drugs were first approved to treat type 2 diabetes, but they have gained in popularity since being approved for obesity in recent years. We're less than 2 weeks into a new year, and today a leading U.S. health organization is releasing its annual report on what to expect in 2026 when it comes to cancer cases and death rates. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has a look at the data and explains why experts say there's still work to be done to improve cancer care and outcomes.
First, the good news. In a new annual report, the American Cancer Society says cancer deaths continue to decline in the U.S., largely due to less smoking, earlier detection of cancers, and improved treatments.
We've made more progress in the treatment of metastatic cancer in the last 20 years than we did in the history of mankind before then. So we are making real progress.
But there's bad news too. In 2026, the organization projects more than 2.1 million new cancer cases in the U.S., along with more than 626,000 cancer deaths. Lung cancer remains the leading cause of those deaths, killing more people than colorectal and pancreatic cancers combined. Those are the next two deadliest cancers.
We've seen a 5-time improvement in overall survival for metastatic lung cancer patients, but it's only at 10%. So while there's been great improvement there, there's still a long way to go.
Disparities also remain. Alaska Natives and Native Americans had the highest cancer death rates. The organization says that's largely driven by lack of access to care, as well as environment and lifestyle. Black women are also less likely to survive breast cancer and are more likely to be diagnosed at a later stage and have poorer outcomes for endometrial and uterine cancers. The U.S. continues to see rates climb for men with advanced prostate cancer, and Black men are more likely to be diagnosed and die from that disease.
There's still a lot of work to be done.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
You heard from Dr. William Dayhut there, and he also says it's important for the U.S. medical community to prioritize care for cancer survivors because the disease impacts a patient's day-to-day life, social connections, and finances, and their needs in light of those aren't always met. A new study could change our understanding of the relationship between the Earth and the Moon. Newly released research found solar winds have been carrying Earth particles to the Moon for billions of years, and it's still happening. Those particles include volatile gases like oxygen and nitrogen. Researchers say the Earth's magnetic field, once thought to block the transfer, actually helped guide the particles to the Moon. Scientists were able to check their work by analyzing lunar samples from the Apollo missions. I'm sure, Mac, you remember those.
Of course, yes. I had a cousin that worked on the Apollo missions, and
Wow.
it's counterintuitive, you know, because the solar wind is coming this way, and if it really hit the Earth straight on, it would be brutal. We thought the atmosphere was sort of keeping it out, but now it's kind of the other way around. You learn something every day. Anyway, folks, we are looking at 54 degrees, a little on the cool side out there, cloudy and a little raindrop here and there, but no significant rainfall. We had a high of 54 and a low of 49, and that's the only rain we got, 0.02 of an inch out at the airport, so much for that. The system is right on top of us, and it's now beginning to move out, so the rain is pretty much pushing to the east. We are looking for clearing skies to the west, and by tonight, we should see a few stars here and there. And tomorrow, we're waiting for this frontal system that's going to blow through here and bring us some strong northerly winds that'll keep us on the cool side, but also on the dry side of everything. In fact, I'll show you what the weather pattern is going to be looking at for the next couple of days. We'll do that coming up in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. As I mentioned, the system that caused us the cloud cover and rain is beginning to pull out of here. In fact, it'll dissipate and continue as it rolls to the east. And then this frontal system will come in, and then the national weather pattern, or the pattern over North America, is going to be very interesting for the next few days. The last chance of rain is right about here. There you see the one that came through this afternoon. So we do have clouds over us, but no echoes, no radar echoes that mean rainfall is falling. So by and large, we're looking for thinning skies out here, clearing skies tonight, and then we're going to be looking for a lot of sunshine for the next couple of days. Here's the rainfall over the last 12 hours. Looks like far west Texas was the one that got the most. For us, everybody here in the crossroads got about 1/10 of an inch right about there. So not a lot. But it was something, you know. At this point in time, we'll take anything. Temperatures tomorrow will get up to 71 before the cold north wind kicks in, and on Thursday we're going to be up to about 64, and then we'll stay in between 64 and 74 through the weekend. The weekend looks nice and dry. Now here is the map for Wednesday, right about there, and the concern is that we have fire danger when the winds are up. So, we can be clear and cold and dry, but if there's no wind, we don't have too much to worry about. Tomorrow, or rather Wednesday, in Gonzales, and of course in the Crossroads, we have the possibility of fire danger because of the gusty north winds. Now, as I mentioned, the pattern over North America has changed. It's sort of swung from one to the other. Now, what I'm saying is that high pressure is over here, and that's going to be blocking any storms coming at us from the west, and low pressure is over here, making it very winter-like for all of the northeastern states. We are here, and we're getting a dry northwest wind that is going to continue, shall we say, keeping us on the dry side with no significant moisture really moving in our direction. So this is going to be interesting because as we go to Thursday, you can see big snowstorm developing here. We're on the backside of it, so we're getting nothing but dry north winds. So big snows for all of the Midwest, down to the Ohio Valley, maybe even down into St. Louis, Missouri, right about there. But for us, we're going to be on the dry side as long as this pattern continues. So a dry northwest flow is what we call it, and that is going to be continuing at least through Monday. Now, beyond that, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, we start picking up moisture coming up from the southwest. Hopefully that'll make it. Otherwise, we're looking kind of dry right now. So overnight we'll get down to about 44, and then tomorrow we should get up into the 70s before the north wind kicks in. We are looking, of course, at temperatures to stay on the dry side of things. Looking at 48 in the morning in Port Lavaca, getting up to 71. But you'll see that north wind really kicking in by the afternoon hours. Cuero, you're looking for a 45 in the morning and getting up to about 71 in the afternoon. 7-day forecast, well, the dry air comes in and then we're cool. We're getting down to 40 on Thursday morning, and then we'll be on the very nice side of things with dry weather right on through the weekend. Beginning on Tuesday, well, we'll keep our fingers crossed that we get some of that moisture coming back up into the region. That's your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody, we do have this QR code. We'd love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone, and we'll toss it back to Don.
Mac, thank you. And coming up on 25 News Now at 5, Microsoft proposes contributing more to cover their energy cost. Their plan is next. Lots of red on Wall Street. The Dow dropped nearly 400 points. The S&P 500 dipped more than 10 points, and the Nasdaq down by double digits. The price of oil is up more than $1, now back over $60 per barrel. Consumer prices rose 2.7% last month, which is slightly more than economists were expecting. The annual pace of inflation remained the same from November. Analysts say despite modest improvement over last year, inflation is still presenting affordability concerns. for many Americans. Inflation numbers are calculated by the Bureau of Labor Statistics using the Consumer Price Index. Meta is set to trim its workforce. The tech giant says it plans to lay off roughly 10% of its 15,000 staffers in the Reality Labs division. This comes as Meta is focusing more attention to creating next-generation artificial intelligence. Those are from sources. Meta has nearly 80,000 employees overall, and these cuts will disproportionately affect those who are in the metaverse unit. The job cuts could be made official as early as later today. Microsoft says it's willing to help offset rising energy costs linked to its data centers. The company says it will pay higher electric rates and help fund infrastructure upgrades to reduce the strain on the power grid. Experts say AI data centers are driving up electricity demand, which can lead to higher bills for homeowners. Other tech companies are facing similar pressure, and Facebook recently announced plans to invest in nuclear power. Amazon's upgraded virtual assistant, Alexa Plus, is designed to do a lot more than play music. Introduced last week at the Consumer Electronics Show, Amazon says the new Alexa will have a better memory, remembering things like your favorite restaurants and even offering to book reservations. Early users can chat with Alexa on the new AlexaPlus.com, then continue those conversations on Echo devices or the Alexa app. Apple is working on a similar update to Siri. A hair-raising competition at the Pennsylvania Farm Show. That's coming up in just a moment. Wait until you see who takes home the prize.
Tonight, chaos and anger over ICE agents in Minneapolis. The new threat from President Trump warning of a day of reckoning and retribution. The new and dark turn, the hunt for an actor U.S. Marshals brought in. And Americans warned to get out of Iran. What comes next? World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
Well, as they say back in the 80s, it was business in the front, but a party in the back at the Pennsylvania Farm Show Monday. People of all ages turned up to compete for Best Mullet. That's the haircut, not the fish. The competition was so fierce, it could have broken Billy Ray Cyrus's achy breaky heart. At the end of the day, it was a 10-year-old who hit a grand slam with his Joe Dirt look-alike. That was enough to make 1980s Andre Agassi proud, especially when Andre had hair back then. Judges say determining factors were length, style, flair, presentation, and dedication. But really, for a contest like this, just competing makes you a winner. They're all winners.
I'm surprised Billy Ray Cyrus didn't show up.
Yeah, he was still trying to grow his hair back from the early 90s.
Yeah.
That's one, I missed that haircut. I fortunately,
you know, being in the business, when we can't really do anything weird here, so we don't have to bother with those styles that come through.
Yes, no mullet points there
no
for that. No.
Well, folks, we're looking for clearing skies tonight. The rain is pretty much over with. We're looking for the skies to clear out, and we're looking for sun tomorrow. It should get up to about 70, and then a cold north wind blows in to keep us on the dry side of things right on through the weekend.
Keep those mullets dry.
Yeah.
You know, that's very important. Thank you, Mac, and thanks for being with us. Our next newscast is in 30 minutes after World News Tonight with David Muir.